So hello students, I welcome you again. So now we'll start computer science lectures from the beginning. I have been recording lectures for a while. I have recorded so many lectures you will find in my channel Learn Digital. So I thought of recording more lectures, and I'm trying to start from basic lectures that we need, for the students, those who introduce themselves to computer science for the first time. So for them, starting from the beginning is very important. So I will discuss from very beginning. So let's start. So let us start with the term computer. What is it? So we have a term computer. So what is a computer? So computer is a machine which can do some calculation, some computation, some logic. So basically computer actually do calculation, computation and logic operations. So calculation on what? On data, on information. So we have to understand how computer works, or what are the different components of a computer. So a computer is a machine which performs two operations. One is it stores information or data, or another work is it processes information. Processes information, what does it mean? And what do you mean by this term storing information? So computer has two components. One is memory, another is processor, CPU, central processing unit or processor. So memory is for storing information, and for processing we have a processor. So these are the two components of a computer. So let's discuss step by step. So how these components are connected together is like, this is the processor and we have a memory here. So memory is connected to the processor. So in the memory we have information or data, and in the processor we access that data and we do processing, or the computer perform processing or manipulation of information. So we will come to that definitely. And if sometime you need to take some input from the real world or from the user like us, if I want to use computer, so I need to interact with the computer. So in this case we are the user, so we will give input to the computer system through input device, and we want the result back. So we will get the result from the computer system through the output devices. So you already know, because you have seen computers everywhere. So in the first place, input devices, we have keyboard, mouse, and there are others, I will come to that later. And in the output section we have device called monitor or display, or we have speaker. So in the monitor we the user experience the output and it gives input through the keyboard. We have keyboard here, we have mouse here which is connected to the computer. So this is basically a computer system with this most important component, memory, CPU, input device and output device. So now let us understand how this computer works. This is very important. For that we have to understand the memory and we have to understand the processor. So memory is nothing but a storage where information will be stored in binary format. We will come to that also, don't worry about it. For the time being, don't go to the binary section right now. Suppose 5, 10, 20, these numbers are stored in the memory, and processor will get these numbers 5 plus 10, it will perform the operation addition and it will store the result back in the memory. This is the result, these are the input 5 and 10, and these are the output. This is the output. So here the processor processes, or processor works on this 5 and 10 using the operator plus, or plus operation is performed, or addition operation is performed on this information. So here you can understand, memory is for storing information, processor is for processing or manipulating information. So after processing, what happens? We actually create, or computer creates new information. So in one sentence, what we can say, computer works on existing information and creates new information. So this is the actually purpose of a computer. This is the generalized statement what a computer performs. So here this plus operation the CPU or the processor can perform. The processor can perform many other instructions or many other commands or operations. Here it can perform addition, it can perform subtraction, it can perform suppose multiplication, it can perform division, like that. There are operations it can perform, but it performs basic operations, very basic operations. So we'll come to that also. So if the CPU or the processor performs very basic operations, then how does it do some complex calculations? Because we know computer, because it can perform so many complex calculations, it can do image processing, it can do scientific operations, it can do complex calculations. How computer can do if the processor only performs basic operations? So there comes the concept of, we call it programming. So this is a kind of overview class which actually will touch few things because it is necessary. We will go with a practical approach. So there comes programming or code or program. What is this program about? This program is some list of instructions or commands. Commands for whom? Commands for the processor. So we will list some commands and those commands will be sent to the processor, and the processor will follow that command. Suppose it is add, it is take input, it is addition, it is display output, like that. There are instructions. So this can be sent to the processor because processor is the unit who will perform the operation. And this section where we store the information, we call it memory. That's why I said information. And so in the memory, what we store information or data, same thing, and the code. Code means the logic or instructions, code or instructions, because only the information or data will not serve the purpose. Suppose I have given you suppose 3 data, suppose 5, 10, 20. So you will immediately ask, why have you given these values to me? And then I have to say that you perform some addition operation, you perform some subtraction operation, you perform some multiplication, you perform other operations. So that particular operation need to be executed by the processor. So that's why CPU, processor. So here the purpose of memory and the processor you have understood. The processor actually gets information from the memory. So memory will store information and program. And what is a program? Program is a collection of instructions. It's a program. It's a collection of instructions for a specific operation or task. What is the task? Task may be you have to perform addition on two numbers 2 and 3. So this is your task. So this is a task which has to be written in a programming format or program or code, and it will be stored in the memory, and the processor will perform the operation on that program, or it will get the instruction one after another and it will solve the problem. So let us write a program. Suppose this is our memory and we have a program add to integer. Okay, so suppose take 2 and 3 or store 2 and 3 and then add 2 and 3, then store result, then display result. So this is what we call a program. Program means a logical steps, logical একটা stepwise solution to a problem. Here you can see a program. So this is a program I have written in my own understanding, own language, so that you can understand. Later we'll go to the real programming when the class goes on. So this program we will send it to a processor or CPU. So what the CPU will do? CPU will do addition, because it can do addition, subtraction, multiplication like that. Suppose this instruction can be performed. So the CPU will perform the addition on 2 and 3. So that's why it has to access the code from the memory and data. It will access code and data to the processor. The processor will access. This we call a memory fetching. So you will get it in your subjects like computer organization and all these subjects. You will find operating system will get this this concept, memory cycle, instruction cycle, where the instruction is fetched from the memory and it go to the CPU, and CPU performs the operation. So like that, this code is actually directly, all the code cannot go to the CPU. So CPU will execute one instruction at a time, one instruction at a time. You have to understand, one instruction at a time. So if the instruction, there are suppose 10 instructions, so CPU will take 10 steps to fetch each instruction. Suppose the program is statement 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. There are 5 instructions. So CPU will get first instruction. Suppose this is CPU. So it will execute it with the data associated with this instruction, ek number instruction. Then it will fetch the second instruction to number 2 instruction. Then it will fetch the number 3. Then it will fetch number 4 and it will execute 3, 4 like that. It will continue up to the last instruction. This way a program is executed by a CPU. You have to understand, very very important statement. So we have memory, we have processor. So why this class is very important, the way I am trying to explain is how do we see a computer, because we can go through books and we may not understand, because you are the beginner. So for the beginners, few classes has to be there which will introduce them with the computer science, the basics of computer like that. And the way I have started, it will definitely help you. So see, this is the first class I can consider. So I will continue the class. So thank you for